Well, hello everybody. Thanks for joining the presentation today. Dan Ames at Brigham Young University, the Department of Civil Engineering. My goal here is just to show you a little bit about the community itself. And let me see if I can start out on the correct slide here. The big question is, what if PVMapper doesn't do what you need it to do? Now, hopefully you're all sitting here thinking to yourself, my goodness, that's a lot of capability and functionality that Scott just demonstrated. There's some things in there that we could use. And it's likely that you have some questions about, can it do such and so? And it's very likely that there are things that you would like an application like PVMapper do that it doesn't presently do. We can address this problem. The way we address it is by the answer that PVMapper is open source. What does this actually mean? Well, some of you are carrying Android telephones in your pockets right now. Your Android operating system is open source. It's based on Linux. Linux is an open source alternative to Windows. There are a lot of different open source applications out there. Maybe you've used the Firefox web browser or the Thunderbird email client. Maybe you know quite a lot about open source. Generally, what open source means is that it's free to use. And so hopefully all those things I just mentioned, the actual operating system on your phone, you didn't have to pay for, you paid for the hardware. The Linux servers that you use when you access websites, those servers are free. The Thunderbird or Firefox software tools that you use are free to use. But there's another aspect to open source. It's not just free to use. It means that the code is visible and reusable. And this is a little bit different paradigm in the world of engineering software, particularly in the energy sector. We haven't seen a whole lot of completely open source software tools. There are a number of free tools and free websites that you can use, many produced by Department of Energy partners. We specifically were asked by the Department of Energy to release our software as open source, and that takes things just a little bit further. It means that, yes, you as potential users are able to access the website, log in, and make use of the software. But it also means that we're developing a user/developer community around the software we hope that you might consider participating in. The community website is called pvmapper.codeplex.com. Codeplex is a web-based system created by Microsoft that allows us to host open source software packages and products. And so if you would like to participate in the actual development of PVMapper, explore the software, explore the source code, think about what needs to be done to improve it or make it better, then please come to the community webpage, pvmapper.codeplex.com. Might be worth writing down. When you get to this Codeplex website, you may need to register or sign in. Unfortunately, for you, if you don't want to have yet another user account, this is a new user account. It's different than the actual PVMapper program, because here this is you're logging into the community system developed by Microsoft, and so you'll create a user account to do some things. For example, if you want to put your own code or to make your own comments on this website, generally you need to have a user account. However, there's quite a lot you can do at the Codeplex website without having a user account. So I'm showing you the next few slides not logged in, so you can see what's possible even without having a user account at this Codeplex website. The Issues tab is the fifth tab over, and this tab allows one to explore open issues and bugs and effectively the development plans for the software. And so you can click on issues and you can scroll down this list of issues, both in a basic view and an advanced view, that give more details about each issue. The issues may be bugs. For example, something isn't working quite right the way we expected it to, or they could be feature requests. For example, wow, we really wish PVMapper would also do X, Y, or Z. And this is where we would really hope that at sort of the lowest bar of entry, the easiest point of entry for somebody to participate in the community, would be to simply post an issue, a bug, or a feature request on this website. In other words, if you find that your company or your agency is getting good use out of PVMapper and you stumble across a problem or you discuss an issue amongst yourselves, then the least we would hope from you is that you would come here, click Issues, and click New Issue, and go ahead and type up your issue so that we'll have at least a historical record or an idea of what the community would find useful. At a much more in-depth level of participation in PVMapper might be to go to the source code page and actually download the source code itself. Here you can see the source code is visible and accessible to the public. This is a little bit different than other free software tools. For example, I use Gmail on a regular basis. I use Google Earth on a regular basis. There might be other, quote, free tools that you use where you haven't had to pay to use that tool. But the source code to those applications is not visible because they aren't released under open source. They're released free, but the source code itself is still owned by the developers. The difference here is that this source code is also visible. So one can click source code and then actually open and explore all of the different source code files themselves. These are the actual codes that make the PVMapper application that you just saw. Not only is it visible, but you can download the whole thing as a giant zip file by clicking the download button there that I just circled. And why would you want to do that? Well, I don't know exactly, other than you may have a need to deploy or an interest in deploying your own version of PVMapper on your own server. For example, you might choose to put PVMapper on your internal intranet with some of your own proprietary data sets. All of the data that you saw in the example that Scott Brown just showed, all of those data sets are free and visible, are open data sets, and they're readily accessible. But if you have proprietary data sets that you either paid for or that you've developed yourselves and you would like to use them with PVMapper, the best thing to do is to host the application yourself and load your own data into it, and then do that on an intranet rather than on the internet. Likewise, you may also be interested in rebranding the application. For example, if somebody really wanted to take Scott's park sighting demonstration a little bit further, you might even want to stand up parksighting.com and rebrand PVMapper as a park sighting application for your own purposes. I don't know what those purposes might be. That's up to the community to decide how to use that source code. Perhaps most importantly, from my point of view, on the far right-hand side is the license itself. The license is here visible as the new BSD license. This is a very liberal reuse license that effectively says you can do what you want with this source code. However, do not sue the developers if it causes you any grief. Or I like to say, don't sue us if it blows up your computer. We don't think it's going to blow up your computer, but that's basically the extent of the license. In fact, it only extends another few lines below what I have it scrolled to here. And it's easy to read and very simple text. This is a common license for many liberal open source projects that allow for commercial and private reuse, commercial and open reuse of the code. In summary, this is our presentation. We've given you a description of what our project is all about. It was funded by the Department of Energy using tax dollars to create something that hopefully would benefit the broader solar developer community and also just general site selection community. We have a couple of requests of you all that have participated on this webinar. And they are, one, we hope that you will take a few minutes and create a pvmapper.org account and try the software. We hope that you will, as you try the software, you will test doing some actual citing. As Scott mentioned, we store very, very small amounts of data on our server, and it's all highly encrypted. So you are safe to draw polygons wherever you want to draw them, explore the scoreboard and see how it scores out the sites that you might be interested in developing. And then ultimately, we hope that you'll tell us about your experience. And you can do that just by simply going to that CodePlex website and posting your comments, issues, requests, feature expectations, and so forth on that website. And also on this page, the PVMapper.org, there's also a Contact Us button in the top right-hand corner where you can actually just send any kind of comment, even without getting involved in the developer website.